Good afternoon. It is, I think, just after one, or absolutely one, on 1 o'clock. Welcome to our Hub Live. My name is Elise Hatton, and I'm the Smart Hub Business Manager. And we are bringing you another Hub Live today, straight from the Smart Hub, well, virtually from the Smart Hub. Now, I am super excited about today because we have the incredible Daniel Johnson with us. I've done a few Hub Lives with Daniel now, and so if you've been following along, you know that Daniel is and actually was our entrepreneur in residence. He came to us straight from Longreach, actually, and at the beginning of last year of 2019. And he really was the person who facilitated all of our Turbo Traction Lab, which was awesome. Hey, Damien, thank you so much for joining us. Great to see you here. And so Daniel is the person who has been doing some of the Hub Lives with me, and also someone who's super experienced in building a business, but also in how to use technology. And he found this thing called no code. Now, that's what we're going to talk about today. Hello, Daniel. How are you?
I'm doing great. It's a great Thursday here. So minus the smoke that I think is dissipating.
There is that. Yeah. It is a great Thursday. Beautiful weather. It feels like spring already. Spring/summer. That's a bit of a worry, actually, given the time of year. Anyway, let's move on. Okay, so no code, easy way to build a business. So tell me more about, you've been in this game for a very, very long time, I know. Hey, Drew, thank you for joining us. Great to see you here. So I know that you've been in this game for a long time, Daniel. Tell me about, if you wanted to build a business, any business, in the past, let's take us even 10 years or 15 years back, how would you go about doing that? And how hard or how costly would that have been?
The answer is very costly, very time consuming. You'd have to have a lot of experience to make something as simple as, we take it for granted, the login page, like somebody puts in an email and password and then a reset. Like that would take somebody that knew what they were doing a couple days to do it. And then anytime that you wanted something on the screen, you type it in, then it saves it, goes to a report and all this other stuff. And the last full-time role I had back in the US, where I worked with 14 programmers, I knew that anytime that I needed one little drop down, one checkbox, one button change, it was a 2-week process. But I also had to jockey against other requests for a 250-person company that was later sold for $200 million. But we had to jockey, all right, how do we add that? Now, I knew enough that, and I did this occasionally, that I went in and did it and said, hey, can you check and make sure I did that okay? But now the tools, but that's actually one step of it. 20 years before that, 30 years before that, you had to have people that were either doing punch cards, like physical cards telling the computer, hey, add these things up, do these things. And you had to have a PhD to know how the computer worked. But now the way that we've went from big mainframe, massive computers, PhDs in order to operate it, then it came very mainstream where people can still do Excel and do little things on their own, but still to do something advanced, you had to get a group of programmers or pay someone to develop a custom app for you. And now we've moved into where you can draw something out and then you can look and make the screen do what you want it to do, and then have some logic behind it. Hey, whenever I click this, do this, which is all a computer does. It's just a if this or do this type of action. So I'm really excited. I'm going to be probably overly talkative on this one, so I apologize to the viewers because
I'll keep you on track. Okay, so I'm going to. This is my first time interrupting you. I just want to quickly welcome Patrick, Sandra, Juan. Thank you so much for joining us. We're talking no code. Hey, Karen, thank you for joining us. We're talking no code and how to build a business. Okay, so it used to be really difficult and time consuming, but first, before we move on to how easy things are now, I want to talk about business specifically. So when we say no code, it sounds like building a tech startup. That's what this is about, but that's not, it's actually applicable to existing bricks and mortar businesses as well, right? Talk to me a little bit about, when we say no code, who is this for?
Yeah, so it's really for anybody that wants to do something in one system. There's two major use cases. You want to build something from scratch and you don't want to pay $50,000, $100,000 for it. You want to design it yourself and you're willing to learn a little bit about how that works. Then the other one is you may want to connect two very disconnected systems, maybe your accounting software with your lead generation system, whatever it is. But you know it's important that you automate that, but you don't want to, it's not worth $1,000, $10,000 for somebody to do it. So there's some tools out there that have made typically disconnected systems start talking and being integrated. And that's done through a no-code tool called Zapier or Integromat. And then the first one that I mentioned is building something from scratch. And it's absolutely amazing where the tools are that you can right now point and click and design an app and make it go to the app store where somebody else can pay you for that app. Like, that's never been that easy. You had to go to college or university or do it for 15 years before you figured it out. Never before has it been this easy. Never before.
Okay, and you're going to do a bit of a demo for us, right? You're going to show us how to do that. Okay, so essentially, just to kind of check that I'm understanding you correctly, this is really for two markets. Either you can build a brand new tech business, actually three markets. You can build a brand new tech business. You can build an app and launch that to the App Store without actually knowing how to code. That's number one. You just need a good idea, and we'll talk about ideas in a minute. Secondly, it's for someone with an existing business who uses technology in some part of their business, in their systems specifically, and they can make that work more efficiently or more effectively by integrating their systems or by creating a new system. And so that is the second type of person. And then, yeah, those really are our two markets, right? Or you can have an existing business. You might have a new business, but you can expand your business by adding a technical or a tech-based product or service, and you can build that with no code as well.
Yep. And
Excellent.
You can test it and get in the no code world, we call it, there's something called the perfect path, which is, all right, for me to deliver that value that I'm telling somebody I can do, how quickly can I get that piece of knowledge or service or whatever to them? And it doesn't take somebody that's been schooled up with a PhD in computer science to do that. You can literally create an PDF of an ebook 50 pages long, and you can sell that in a matter of minutes. That's where we are right now.
That is so awesome. Andrew, thank you so much for joining us. Mr. Daniel Johnson's going to share his screen, aren't you, Daniel, and show us?
Do you want me to show you that?
Yes, please. But first, yeah.
And so here's what I propose is one, I want to show you one graphic that shows the landscape of where the no-code tools are. And then what we can do is we can decide to build a no-code app while we're during the session today. How about that?
I love that idea. Absolutely love that idea. Can I add something into that conversation? Can we have 2 minutes of talking about ideas, business cases, thinking about what to build before you build it, testing MVPs, really like a 2-minute crash course about the business logic that sits behind building any tech tools?
So the way that I look at something, and I'll find the link while I'm sitting here chatting. I always think about the very simplest thing is you want to say, who cares? Who has this problem? Who are they? Are there enough of them? Do they have a problem? So we've got our market. Now we've got our problem or opportunity. And then the third area, if it were a Venn diagram, is, does it make financial sense to do it? If somebody's used to getting something for free and we say, hey, we're going to give this to you for $20 per week, and they're like, no, I'm good. It fails at the financial aspect of it. Doesn't make any sense. If there's only one customer ever in the world and it's the Australian government, that must mean that you have to pay a very high price for that. And who knows, you may not get the job or the role. And then is it a big enough pain? Whenever I look at opportunities, I like to see that there's a big market. They're already paying and trying to solve the problem, but in a really bad way where they're not happy. They're already spending money, because that means I can take their money that they're already used to in their budget and now give it to me. I really love it whenever I can find these people on the street or through marketing tools. And I really love it whenever I build a team of people around it so that we can collectively design and build a solution that meets that market need. So that's sort of what I think about. Who in the world cares enough? Do they care enough to actually engage? Is it really a problem, or is it a vitamin? And the last one is, does it make financial sense for me to even continue this? That's what I look at.
Perfect. Now, share screening time. Screen sharing time. I can't even get my words right. I'm so excited.
Yeah, let me see if I can bring this up. So I'll share this. So I'm going to share you two things. So I think a little bit about, I'm going to show you one of my favorite cartoons that helps me think about, should I even spend time doing this? So there's this techie cartoon called XKCD, and they poke holes at stuff, but sometimes they give some nuggets of knowledge. And this is one that they have. And they said, hey, should you try to automate this? And they say, how long should you manually do the routine task before you spend more time on it? But it's a cost benefit, and it's a quick graph. So they're saying over 5 years, if you only do the task once a year and it takes you 1 second, you should only spend 5 seconds ever automating that, because it's in your interest to just keep on doing it manually. However, and this goes into the frequency thing that I mentioned, if you do something 50 times a day and you save 5 minutes, you should spend up to 9 months automating that. Because at that point of 9 months over 5 years, you actually start getting your time back, and time is a commodity that we can't ever get more of. So this is something I look at. It goes around the tech circles I'm in about every 4 weeks. Whenever somebody says, "Oh my gosh, I should be doing that," so this is a good gut check. You have to say, how frequently do I do it? How much time would I, if I automated what I save? And then the intersection is how long you should spend automating it. So that's just something I think about. Cool.
That's really cool. So if you're on this call, or if you're watching this live, or even if you're watching the recording after, this is really a good intersection where you can ask yourself the question, what are you doing repeatedly that really is worth just automating? And I already have an answer in my mind of something I do repeatedly that definitely needs to be automated.
Yeah, you just have to find the intersection and be like, all right, can I spend, or you can either spend your own time or you pay somebody the equivalent of that. So if you need, it's 12 hours and let's say a programmer is $100 an hour, well, that's saying that you should spend $1,200 automating that, paying somebody to do it for you. You're buying time. So anyway, there's example number one. Example number two, this is sort of an overview, and this is a little bit busy, and every day there's more tools coming. I was on the call last night at 2 a.m. with one that's starting in Brisbane that's trying to do this design part. So what we have here at the bottom is the logic, which is, hey, if this thing happens on the system, then do this other thing. That's where Zapier comes in. I'm a huge fan of it. For instance, I have this tool monitoring my Google Calendar, and any invitation that I get, because I like to take notes whenever I have meetings, it takes that meeting request, that subject, meeting with Elise, HubLive, and automatically creates where I take my notes into Microsoft OneNote, an automatic note that all I have to go in there is start typing. I don't have to copy and remember what it is. It's all uniform. It tells who was in the meeting, the start time, the end time, and the location, and the email addresses. So if I had to email Elise, I just copy and paste and I'm done. I used to do that manually and I hated it. So then I automated. So we've got automation, just making things happen. Then we have making things beautiful. So there's some Typeform is just collecting data, but they do it in a very elegant way. We've seen this on a whole bunch of websites. Fill this out. It's a small application. They do a really great job with that. Card lets you make a one-page brochure website, point, click, upload some photos, bam, you're done. You can even pay on it, which is pretty cool. Canva, an Australian-based company that makes designing social media graphics, whatever it is you want to put out there, even presentations. They're there, $1 billion company now, which is great to have. Yeah. And then you've got spreadsheets, which is data. We've all used Excel, Microsoft Excel. Maybe we've moved over to Google Spreadsheet, which is pretty cool. Airtable's the big one in here that is making it super simple for people to collect and sort through data. But here's the magic, Elise, is where these overlap. So if you see what's going on with Bubble, and this is my favorite tool, it lets you create something beautiful at the same time of dealing with data, and it lets you automate things. And the other one we're going to talk about today is called Funkable. And that's one that lets you create an app just by dragging and dropping, which is absolutely amazing if you start thinking about. So these are two graphics that I think are really important for anybody thinking about what I should do. And then let's build something together. We'll show these tools in use. And then we'll share with people where they can go next if they want to take this leap into building something that they're proud of. So what do you say?
Love it. Perfect. Yeah, that's
Okay.
a wonderful graphic. It's pretty overwhelming when you look at it just like that. But when you start looking more in a detailed way, some of them are new, but some of them are familiar. There's so much that can be done. Hey.
Yeah. So like if I'll just tell you the ones that I'm currently building my next business with. I'm using VoiceFlow. I'm using Thunkable. I'm using Bubble. I'm using Zapier. And another one isn't on here because it's a little bit specialized. I use Canva. So yeah, it's pretty some amazing things that are out there. And
so show us how to do that. Show us how. Yeah. Show us how.
All right. So in full internet Murphy's Law, we are dealing with Murphy's Law. What can go wrong will go wrong, but we'll keep our fingers crossed and hope something happens. So I've already created the accounts. Everybody's created an account for an online service before, so just assume that you know how to do that. So what we do is we come over here and they make it super simple, and you can click on Make a New App. And this is Bubble.io. And this one is free to hang around with and do whatever. As you need more features or you want to make it on your own website, they do charge the minimum price is $20 per month, but it's very well worth it. And I'll show you some ways that you can get about 10 months of this for free if you join one of these communities. So first thing it does is it says, give us a name. So we're going to name this our Smart Hub to-do list. And they also let you start from a template. So we're actually going to create a project list, just a very basic one. But to save yourself time, they've already made some beautiful ones that you can either start as their template or you can buy some, which is pretty cool. What are we building? Let's just say that we're going to do, it really doesn't matter what you're doing here. Details, it's a to-do list. Would you rather, we're going to build it ourselves, but you can actually hire someone with them. Let's create a new app. And then if we wanted to, it's going to walk us through a little bit of a guided process, but we're not going to do that. We're just going to go straight into it. Just awesome. Trust me that it's there.
Hey, Michael. Hi, Phil. Hold on. I'm going to interrupt you, Daniel. Hey, yep. Michael. Hi, Phil. Thank you so much for joining us. Great to see you here. Daniel, just one question. If you say click on hire someone, what happens?
I've never done it, but I'm pretty sure it takes you into some Bubble experts, a directory that you can click and find people. And there's just a couple people with this tool in Australia from experience-wise. A lot of them are in Europe and in the US. So.
Okay, awesome. Hey, Tracy, joining us from Victoria. Thank you so much for joining us. Where are you in Victoria and how are things going there? Let us know. Also, if you have any questions for Daniel, please feel free to put them in the comments and we'll be sure to answer them for you.
So this is the first one that we have, and just to show you how it works, we have on our left-hand side the big buckets of what we can do: design, making it look pretty, putting text on the screen; workflow, that's, hey, if we click this, then we need this other action to happen, or a series of actions, which is pretty cool. Data, that's where we store things so that later on we can retrieve it. Styles, making things look uniform everywhere. Plugins, there's a big community that if you want something specific, some people love this tool so much they write free plugins. You can purchase some of them. I've purchased a couple because it was cheaper to purchase than code it myself. Settings for the account and log, so you can see what happens, good, bad, or the ugly on the back end. So they give you this one already. This is the blank. This is what you start out with. You already start up with a sign up and an FAQ, and they already have it here. And if we want to see out of the box, click one, what they have, we click on preview. And it goes ahead and it's there. Here it is. I bet you anything, because if we make it go on like a mobile view, it's already mobile friendly out of the gate. We're already there. You used to have to hire designers thousands of dollars to do this thing called responsive, but you know what? It's there. And I bet you anything, if we click on FAQs, it's going to take us to the bubble FAQs. They just put it in there as something there. So that's all we're doing. So we're going to go through this process of creating a page, looking at it, editing it. What I always do is I try to bring up in my text editor, whatever it is, Microsoft Word, it doesn't matter. And I always think about, all right, what do I want to make? So the goal is to make a to-do list, right? And I want it to email the to-do list item to me, right? Let's just take it as that. Those are the first two things, and then I make it more complicated. I like to test things early and test them often. So what we do in Bubbles, we click at the pages up here, and we're just going to add a new page. We're going to give it a page name, which is just going to be to do. You can clone it, make it an example of a page you've already made, but we're not going to do that. We're just going to put it on here. We're going to see what happens. We get a totally blank view of what we're going. And over here on the left-hand side, we have our design elements. And we've seen this on every website. We have text. We have a button that people click on. We have inputs where people type checkboxes. We've seen these before. They just make it super simple. So let's just go ahead and give this a text. And this is going to be Elise's to-do list, right? Perfect.
Oh, it's one of my least favorite terms, but okay, we'll go with it.
Okay, and then we need to say, all right, we may need, and we can search here. We know we need a button, so we just click here, drag it over here. Edit me, we give it a name. Save to do item, right? Perfect, that's it. Now, I like to make sure that I'm not going to go crazy, and I like to go ahead and click on it, and there's this really cool area called Start and Edit Workflow. Right now, we're in the design view, but as soon as we click on that, it's going to take us and say, hey, whenever you do this action to click on that button, what do you want to do? Well, first thing, just to test it out, we're going to click here and add an action. And sometimes it has a little bit of goof up. So I'm just going to refresh it. And what we're going to do is we're going to make it send ourselves an email. That's it, just an email. Hey, Elise, how are you doing? And then we're going to make it more complicated. Because sometimes if you make it complicated of the first go, something breaks and you don't know what you did. So I take it in baby steps as I'm learning. So whenever we click on this, we're going to add an item and we want to send an email. So send email, we're just clicking. Who are we going to send it to? Sidetrack, I use this service called Temp Email to test things. And it's temp-mail.org. And what it does is it's a free email service that just receives emails as you're testing things. So I'm just going to copy that. I'm going to come back over to Bubble, and we're going to say, give it the to-do list, sender name, Smart Hub to-do, subject, testing email, right? Body, this should be a to-do list item, right? Perfect. Now we click on preview, and if the world works correctly, we should now have a page that says Elise's to-do list, and whenever we click on save to-do item, what did we tell it to do, Elise? What did we tell it to do?
Email.
So once we click on that, and we come over here to our temp email, and I'm going to refresh. I was testing earlier and make sure we could do this. And once we have this, as it's going, making sure we're not fake or crazy. Here's our new email that we just sent, our test email.
Nice.
Right? And it says, perfect. This should be the two, right, perfect, right? That would have taken a couple days for somebody to do as a first-time programmer, but we did it in 3 minutes, as I'm explaining. So now let's go back. Let's go to design. So what does a to-do list item need, Elise? What's the very first thing? This is just the header. You need to know what you need to do, right?
Yeah, needs a list.
Yeah, so this is just a list item. So I just took an input. Here's a list item, placeholder list item here. And now if we click that, we've actually told it not to do anything. So we click back on our button. We edit our workflow. We're sending the email, but we actually haven't told it to do anything. So now we come over here and we say, hey, insert this dynamic data. We want to come over here and we want to put this input list item here, that value of that item. We come back over here. it tells us, hey, you've made a change. Click here to refresh. And now,
Yeah.
if the world works correctly, we should have a list item. So this is
Nice.
send Daniel bourbon, right? If we okay,
That's wishful
so
thinking, Daniel.
hey, if you don't ask, you don't get.
Sure.
So now you're like, okay, we click on that. What should happen, Elise? We just edited the email body. This new
Should
item
send
should
it
be
to
in
me.
there.
Should send me an email saying that I need to send you bourbon.
Yep. Yep.
And while we
So
do that, I'll just welcome a few more people to our Hub Live while you're refreshing to see if it all works
yep.
for us. Miranda, Peter, Murray, and Brody, thank you for joining us. Excellent to have you on our Hub Live. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask in the comments and we'll get Daniel to answer those for you. How did we go? There it is. Send Daniel
There it
bourbon.
is.
Wonderful. Awesome.
So this is what we call the iterative process. You do something simple. Okay, it works. You're confident. So you're building confidence as you do it. Then you make a change, see that it works. Now, as you get better and quicker and you know the tool, you could add 5 at once and then it works. But a to-do list is more than just a random to-do list item. What else does a to-do list typically have, Elise?
Well, in an ideal world, it will also have when it needs to be done or a list of priorities, something like that.
So a date, right?
Date.
So now we click on the input form, we drag it over here. Here's our to-do list date. What we also need to come back in here, we need to add it to our email, and we come over here and we say this is due on. Click on insert dynamic data, and then we come over here and we get the date pickers value. We're done. Still going to email that. We press refresh, it tells us. And now, if the world worked correctly, we should have a text input, a date input, and we say send Daniel brownies. And now we come over here, we pick the date, save to-do list item. And again, if the world works correctly, come back to our list, and we should have our, as it's refreshing, this one should be our brownies.
Let's have a
right?
look.
Our brownies with the to-do
with our
list,
deadline.
right? Yeah.
Perfect.
So this is what we're doing. Okay. So this is the world's easiest example because we see it all the time. I'm going to make one change because we need it for the next step. But I'm going to come over here and we just put the date. Well, if I tell you to do something by next Tuesday, well, is that Tuesday at 12:01 a.m. or 11:59 p.m.? We don't know. But look what they do. They come over here and they say, they let you say what type of input. We're going to say date and time. Now we get a time with it. We come over here, all point and click. We're done. Now we get the date and time. Perfect, right? All right.
Perfect.
Now here's the cool. Okay, do we have any questions? Anybody wondering how this thing works?
Okay, so far, I don't think we have any questions. Jade's joined us. Thank you, Jade, for joining us. Hey, how are you? I think everyone's following along really well. So let's keep going.
Okay, so we've got a very simple to-do list item, our date and our time, and it sends us an email. But I don't know about you, but I don't like to manage my to-do list off my email. I get enough of them anyway. So where should we place these, Elise?
Well, maybe on a Trello board?
We could do Trello, but where's something else? Where's somewhere else we should place it? Maybe on our calendar? So here's the really cool thing. Using the second tool that we're going to showcase today is called Zapier, Zapier. And this allows over 1,500 different tools to talk to each other. So if you've ever purchased something online and then you get a confirmation of an email, they've probably used a tool like this to make the order purchase talk to the CRM or the customer relationship management software. That's okay. Now we're on an email list. They probably used a tool to do this. But let's make Zapier add that to-do list to our calendar. What do you say?
I love it. Perfect.
Okay. So we're going to make their tool
to bake some graham brownies. Sorry.
There we go. So we're going to say, now the way that it works is, number one, we had to go over here to Bubble and we have to put a plugin in there because Bubble doesn't know how to talk to Zapier. So we come over here, we add a plugin, we type in Zapier, and this is where it's going to get fun to see if tech works while we're doing it. But I did it as a test a couple hours ago, so we'll see if it works. So Zapier, we do this, we install this. It's installed. That's great. Now we come back over here and we're going to create one. So there's amazing support communities that walk you through how to do this. But if you read the documentation, it says create this thing called a web hook. And all it does is this service is going to wait until another service sends its data. So it's called a catch hook. Again, this is explained in the to-do list walkthrough. So they tell you exactly how to do it. And we're going to come in here and it's going to say, hey, send us the data at the super secret special item here. So we copy that because we need it. We don't need to pick off a child. We press continue. Now it's saying, hey, I need some example data. So we come back over here to Bubble. We come back over to our workflow of sending, and we're going to create a new workflow. And what we're going to do, we're going to trigger a Zapier Zap. And once we do this webhook, again, sounds technical. It's not. You're copying and pasting, no code. And we're going to send one text item, 0 numbers, 0 Booleans, which are true or false. Don't worry about that. And we're going to send one date. And here we need to send that item's value for the to-do list item. And we need to come down here and we need to send the date that somebody picked, right? So that date and times value, right? That's all we have to do. Mm-hmm. Now we can over here to test it out. We click on initiate this webhook, and through the magic of the internet, as we click test trigger, and I may have to do that again, it went ahead and pulled this data in. That was a sample, so it doesn't actually know what we're doing. Okay, so now we continue. That's great. We can make it find. Now it's saying, all right, once I receive that, how do you want to connect it up? We're going to do Google Calendar. And I already have this set up, but it prompts you if you need to do it. We're going to create a detailed event, and we're going to go ahead and add it. We're going to take it to my personal calendar. That's great. Again, I've logged in with Google before, so it remembers me. And yeah. I've created a special calendar called Smart Hub. And what we do is in the summary, now it says, hey, that information you just sent me, what do I need to do? What do I need to put where? We click on show options, and what happens is we have this text right here. So it's text 1 that we sent, and saying that'll be the title of the event we're going to create. A description, this was created for Elise, rah, 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 whatever else. And then we come over here and we say, what is the start time of that event? And we come over here and it's going to be the date that we made it sent. And I ask for a start date and then ask for an end date. Now there's a little trick you can do here, and we'll see if it works. We're going to add 1 hour, so 1 plus 1H. Let's see if this works. Let's go ahead and just for full disclosure, I'll show you the calendar. There's nothing on here. Now, as we do this, we click on continue. I know this seems technical. It's not. I love these things. We go ahead and if the world works, we click on test and review. It's highly possible I made an error, or it says a test event has been sent to Google Calendar. Elise, we did 0 coding. Now let's see what's on the calendar.
Let's check. Does it have a little event?
Yep, there's our event. This event was created for Elise. 0 coding, fully automated. Okay, so now let's connect Zapier up and let's see what things will happen. So once we do that, we have to turn the Zap on. And now if we come back over here to our bubble, which we told it to come over here, that's fine. If the world works correctly, Elise, full disclosure, I don't know if this is going to work. I hope it works. It should work.
We're all hoping it works.
Yeah, we're coming over here, and now we're going to say, all right, there's nothing here. Let's come over here. List item. We're gonna have call the cleaners to clean Daniel's studio. Right? When do we need to do that? The 7th at 1 p.m. Whatever. We save the to-do item. It should within a couple seconds, as Zapier and the magic of the internet is doing its amazing things. I hope it works. We'll refresh it. Sometimes it takes a couple seconds. It's not overly
Okay, while
instantaneous.
we're
Sometimes it
refreshing,
is.
I'm quickly going to interrupt you.
Yeah, yeah,
Wayne,
yeah.
we'll get to your question in a second. Thank you for asking that. Hey, I hope you are well. Terry, Adrian, Paul, Susan, Matthew, thank you so much for joining us. If you have any questions for Daniel, please put them in the comments and we'll be sure to get Daniel to answer those for you. And as I said, Wayne, we'll get back to you in a sec. Just to ask that question. And also, Tracy, you're from Melbourne. Let us know how things are going in Melbourne, and how did you find us? So great that you're joining us from Melbourne. Thank you.
Yep.
Okay, Matthew, how did you
Okay,
go down?
so it gave us a little error, and I have a feeling it's because of the one, we need to give it a name. We didn't do that. So
Okay,
Elise's to-do list. So we have that, and let's go ahead, and that should save it. And then it's going to tell us that we've got a small error, but everything's fixable. This is why you do it in small things. And we come over to my Zaps, and we look at our task history, and we come over here and we get to see what Elise's to-do list. View task log, and it's probably something to do that it doesn't like. This is common. It probably doesn't like. It doesn't like the date time. Okay, we'll fix that. Let's see what it's doing. This is the fun part. I think it's fun. It's probably not fun, but I think it's fun. So we probably have. Yeah, but it's doable. So we need to find Elise's task, Elise's to-do list. We'll come over here. We'll edit. I bet you anything, it just doesn't understand. We need to make it find data. So we're going to come back over here. We're going to make it load more data. We just sent it one. And so let's continue, and let's make sure that it actually understands the data. So customize the event. Test events are, so it doesn't like query string, but look up here. Here's what we did. So there's the summary event, and then we come back down. We didn't do anything wrong. It just didn't know what we were doing. So we come back here, we grab the date, and then we'll put the date back in there again. And let's add 1 hour. Done. And once we've done that, it'll force us to continue. Troubleshooting is fun, but there's amazing communities out there that help you do stuff. Test and review, and this should create us. All right, so it did that. It's saying, hey, your data is good again. And there's our call to cleaners. Okay, so now it's working full stop everywhere. So let's try it one more time, all right? So this is clean Daniel's car. We're going to make it for the 8th, because I know you like to work on the weekends. Save to-do list. Save the to-do list through the power of the internet. Again, if everything works correctly, which it should, because it just did a second ago. I get impatient, so I do press refresh a lot. Let's see. Let's make sure that nothing's off. Anyway, this does work. I tested it out an hour ago. Oh, I forgot to turn it on. Rut-row. See? Performance anxiety, trying to not turn things on. So there we go. Let's try it one more time, one last time. Clean Daniel's kitchen, right? Save to-do list item. Now that everything's on, the world cooperates. There's Daniel's kitchen.
Nice. Right there.
What we just showed you is, again, once you go through the tutorials and everything, you can create a to-do list app. I've seen people recreate Airbnbs on this platform. There's a $300 million valued fintech company that runs on this particular platform. And all it is point and click, do this, do that, make this other thing happen. That's it. This is the simplest one, but I'm building my business on this because it just works, which is pretty fun.
That's awesome.
So there you go. There's the perfect.
So you go.
So there's the perfect flow of, I have an idea, let me click around, make two systems connect up, and then my little automation life is potentially a little bit easier.
Awesome. Okay, so Wayne has a question that relates to what you just said. Could you zap those custom fields back to the active campaign, for instance, on enrollment form app?
Yeah. So what he's asking, and here's if you have one of the paid accounts in there, about, I think they started at about 20 USD or something like that. You can come over here, and then anything you collect on that form, you can come back over here, add one more step, and say, hey, active campaign, which they support, and I don't have a working account with them right now. But basically, yeah, you would just create a contact, and as you're doing that, actually, apparently I do have an active oh no, I don't. But it'll ask you, hey, with somebody's email address, give them a tag for whatever it is, and you can specify that either from a form field that's passed in from like what we created on the to-do list, or on the back end of the Zapier stuff. So yeah, the answer is yes. Pretty easy too.
Okay, very, very good. So for those if someone's watching and thinking, well, how long would it take to figure out where to click around? You mentioned have an idea, go to Bubble, click around.
Yep.
How do you figure that out? Like, what could we do?
So one, I will disclose I've got a little bit of a tech background. So I've been dealing with tech for, I think I've figured it out like 25 years. It's way too long than I care to admit. But there's some resources. And so for instance, if I wanted to learn about something, I would just type in bubble.io because that's the website tutorial. And if you sign up for a new account, they'll direct you to this area called lessons, and they walk you through, hey, here's how you find this. And it's a very, like, you can see that I did exactly what I would encourage everybody to do. I've completed the 12 tutorials. And you just click on it and it guides you through the process. YouTube is an amazing source for tutorials. Somebody's like, oh, this is how I did it. And they also have these support forums. So if you click on that, this is one. And you just have to search for something. Hey, I want to show a video. And there's somebody in here that has said, hey, this is how I did it. Or I want to display image and video. RG is repeating group, but whatever. But yeah, people come in there, they answer each other questions. It's pretty good.
That is awesome. Okay, another question. Paul asks, I need to get some automation happening with Zapier. Does Daniel have any contacts he could recommend to help? Maybe like Upwork, like on Upwork.
I've never searched, so I like to use Zapier myself because I think it's a fun thing. But I bet you anything that if you come over here and you do Zapier, that there's going to be people in there that say that they do this. So the answer is yes. You have to decide, again, is it worth $50 an hour, $75 an hour for whatever else it is. So it depends on your price point. I like to learn that particular tool myself. I can tell you that in the Rockhampton region, I did search on LinkedIn, and there's 4 people that I know this tool in Rockhampton. 2 of them are programmers, and they bill out at over $100 an hour. I'm one of them, and the other one works at CQU. There are 4 of us. Now, I will tell you that there's these Zapier audit experts out there. If somebody got laid off from their job and they like technology a little bit, I would encourage you to go through the tutorials and become a Zapier certified expert. Then you get to charge 100 USD an hour, which is about 133 Australian dollars. That's pretty good money.
That is pretty good money.
The learning is just free. And the way you learn, the way you mess stuff up and make it work again, is you just do it.
Yeah, perfect. Excellent. Okay, so where do we go next?
So I'll show you one guy. So let me see if I can find him. So there is this guy in Brisbane. He labels himself as that startup guy. His name is Chris. I think this is his website. I'd have to look at it, but he's created, there's a Facebook group for there's over 2,000 people in it that ask questions, answers each other questions. It's a very tight-knit community because one time you know the answer, somebody else doesn't. And I'm part of like a whole bunch of them. And I go in there and I'm like, ooh, I haven't thought about that. And I give somebody how I would approach the solution, but there's always like 20 different ways to do it. So like Zapier user community, this is the one that Chris has. He's a great guy. 4,000 people on there. Post a question. Active campaign, click on it. And this is how you get help. Active campaign. Type that in, and then I bet you anything I'm going to come up in it because I respond on some active campaign stuff. Hey, how does anybody know it? hey, we're using this, 10 comments. So people do come in there and say, hey, this is how we approach it. So one, Facebook community groups are your friend. User forums are your friends. I also shared that I'd show you another tool. One is called Thunkable, and they were actually just designed, it's an offshoot of some researchers at the Massachusetts Institute of Technology, MIT, and they've made it where, just like Bubble, you can click on certain things. You want to add text input, you click and drag, and then it pops up, and you can, of course, rename it, give it default text, everything like that. But they've taken a different approach. They say that, hey, whenever you click on Save To Do, instead of that little flowchart version, they actually make it draggable. So they say, hey, whenever that button is clicked, I want you to do this. And you may do something as simple as device, we can make it vibrate. Which, why you would do that, I don't know, but you could make it upload things to Zapier, and it's all click. We can say, hey, whenever somebody does, we want to make, I bet you anything, we can make the background of it black if we wanted to, just by clicking. So it's point and click, drag. This one's a little bit more complicated. I started using it this weekend, but once you learn it, you can actually do some pretty cool things. So once you do it, again, same thing as Bubble, that you get a real live version of click on the date, there's your drop down list, everything like that. Click on your button. If we had it hooked up to something, it would then send the email or do something like that, or give it to Zapier to process something. So,
okay,
and this one, and this one for $21 a month, they'll help you take your app and put it in the App Store.
Awesome.
$21.
Hey, yeah, that's amazing. Hey, Justin, thank you so much for joining us. Really appreciate it. I want to just go back to Miranda's question, and she takes us back to what we did with Bubble. The question that she asked is, does it default, I think, the calendar, that calendar email, does it default to your time zone in your calendar?
Let's play this one out. So it depends on a whole bunch of different variables, and if you include that in there. But the way I would figure that out is I would go to the Bubble forum, and I've been to it so much times, I know it's forum.bubble.io. And I can tell you that number that they give you, we can see exactly what it is if we come over here to the task history of how Zapier receives it. And if we come over here to Elise, the answer is you have to search to figure out, because all of them do something differently. So if we go over to task history, we can see the raw data that it received, and it received the date as that very long, weird number.
Yeah.
That's what we call epoch time, EPOCH, but that's the computer's way of knowing what's going on. But what you would do, here's how I would solve it. I would come over here and I would go to the forum. It's forum.bubble.io. And I would search for time zone. Somebody's going to tell you to create a drop-down list of the appropriate time zone, and then include that drop-down list. Hey, we're in Brisbane time, in the date formatting for your Zapier. But yeah, you just look it up, time zone. Somebody's probably asking time zone related question, time zone picker. Someone's made a plugin that you just click install, bam, you're done. So yeah.
Okay. Awesome.
Research for 2 minutes.
Research for 2 minutes. Justine, Natalie, Corey, thank you for joining us. If you have any questions for Daniel, now is a really, really good time to ask. Daniel, can you believe that we've been going for 48 minutes already? Time flies when you're having fun. So we'll be wrapping this up in a few minutes. So if you have any questions, now is a really, really good time to ask. Okay, Daniel, so those two tools, Thunkable and Bubble, which one should you start with? Because Thunkable looks like a drag and drop, but you said it's more complicated, even though it looks more simpler. And Bubble seems also really easy to navigate. Where should people start?
It's whichever one you want to play with. If I knew I was going to create a system that I was primarily going to use on my desktop, I would probably deal with Bubble first. A lot of the ways that the mobile apps are going, a lot of people are very comfortable going to a website and expecting a mobile friendly version of it. And you can do all that in Bubble. Now, if you need to do something special like access the flashlight, access something special on the phone, then you have to go to the Thunkable route. But Bubble just doesn't do that. Bubble, think about it, screen, type things in, tap, 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 upload a photo, take a video, something like that. It can do that pretty well.
That's excellent. Okay, so 2 more questions. Tell us a little bit about what you're building using Bubble. So show us Lolly.
Yeah, so I'll show it to you. So we'll do 2 things. So the service Read with Lolly, and we'll show you the test version of it. So what Read with Lolly is, it's a super simple way for families and friends to record themselves reading books or telling stories so that a kid can just ask Amazon Alexa to play back that story. So story time becomes anytime, anywhere. But to do that, you have to, and all this was what I'm about to show you is built with Bubble. And so if we come over here, who's going to listen? It's going to be Elise. We press next. And it's going to say, hey, what's the name of the story? And it could be anything like Daniel loves brownies. And actually, I'm going to make it live so that we can watch it work all at once.
Awesome. You're going to tell us the story?
Sure. And we click on next. Daniel's the author. If I can spell my correct name. And then once you do that, again, all this is Bubble. It works. It's mobile friendly, all that other stuff. And now it's going to say, hey, start countdown, 3, 2, 1. Hey, this is a story about somebody that loves brownies. We press stop. It's uploading it. It's doing some things in the background. And now we can press on next. And it's going to ask us to create an email account. And once again, all this built-in Bubble, no problems with it. And then if the world works correctly, it says, hey, this is what you need to do. Go to Lolly Stories. And now we can show you Lolly Stories. And if my Alexa, open Lolly Stories. Let's see if you can hear this.
Hello and welcome to Lolly Stories.
Can you hear that?
What would you do today?
Awesome.
Ask me to list the stories by saying list or switch to
Alexa,
listeners.
Switch.
Sorry, no match found with the story
Alexa,
name.
switch. Live demos are always great.
Sorry, I can't switch accounts until that user has signed the terms of use.
Well,
Please visit the Alexa app.
Alexa, exit. I haven't heard that one yet. Alexa, open Lolly Stories.
Hello and welcome to Lolly
Alexa,
Stories.
switch.
Okay, I have cleared the previous listener.
And I need to say,
let's get started. Hello and welcome to Lolly Stories.
Alexa,
what would you do?
List.
Hey, someone provided
Alexa,
you with 3 words.
Huge black dog.
Hey, someone provided you with
It doesn't
3
want to work
words.
out.
What are they?
So some huge black dog.
Hey, someone provided you with 3
It doesn't
words.
want to work right now
what
for some
they?
reason. But anyway, what would happen is
you're cutting Alexa off. You can't even get a word in.
Yeah.
Hi,
So
Jessica, thank you for joining us. Okay, so then through Alexa, we can listen to someone. Once upon a time, there was someone who liked brownies story. Awesome. I really love that. So essentially what I'm trying to get at too is, Daniel, that you are practicing what you preach. You had this idea. Where did you get this idea from?
So one, I am separated from my nephew and niece in the US since I'm over here in Australia. But 2, people tend to tell me problems that they want a solution to and be like, dude, can you just make this? And so the idea was seeded to me by a friend back in Kentucky, and I stewed on it for a long time, waiting for the tools to catch up. And then after we finished with the Turbo Traction Lab on May 28th, I started working on it on May 29th. So
yeah, awesome. So you are literally building your own business using no-code tools.
Yes, hands down. No questions asked. Yes.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. And Lolly seems like a lot of fun. I can't wait to actually experience it. It's really awesome.
Yeah, I think it's fun. Then again, I'm a little bit biased. So,
Yeah, of course. Okay, hey
and
Garrett, thanks for watching. If you have any questions, please feel jump on and ask Daniel questions right now. So Daniel, you mentioned that you are going to share something with us that is a bit of a like a secret and how we can get access to Bubble at a discount.
yeah, so there's this, and I was going to show you how complicated Bubble can get, but we can come back to that later. I was going to show you how Lolly actually works. So, like, I will do that later.
Yeah, you can do that now. That's okay. We can answer my question later.
So there's this online community called 100 Days of No Code. And there's this community, and I'm a part of it. I paid my $50 because I support what they're doing. I love what they're doing. And what they do is you sign up for this 100-day challenge, and you get to decide for the next 100 days, I'm going to do whatever. So I signed up to this with the intention of building Lolly while I was in it. And I get a tick mark because I actually did it while I was part of it. But yeah, it's pretty simple. You just sign up for it. I'm actually featured somewhere here as one of their people. But yeah, and then you get invited to a Slack community. They show you different things you can do, and they also give you discounted memberships. So you can get a discounted cost to Bubble through 100 Days of No Code. They also give you this other website, which I didn't know existed, called Secret. And it is a way that they have tens, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of discounts for you if you join. And so you join Secret through a discount code you get through No Code, $50 or something like that to join the 100 Days of No Code. Then you get 6 months free of Secret, and you get thousands and thousands of dollars of free resources through it.
That's
It's amazing.
$50
and so there's no reason it's never been as cheap, as easy, as supported to start a business right now than there ever has been before in the history of time.
That's amazing. Or even just to automate some of your processes.
Yep.
Very, very awesome.
It's amazing.
Okay, show us what you wanted to show us before about how complicated Bubble can be.
Oh yeah, so this is a back end. Yeah, so
word.
this is the back end of Lolly. So for instance, if we come over here toward let's go to so these are all the things in the back that happen. Like we have something that converts the audio, because what you record on your phone can actually be used, and we have all these different things that end up happening, and that's just back end stuff you never see. Whenever you press the whenever you come and you save the audio file, this one I think is complicated if I remember correctly. Yeah, this is all the things that we see whenever you click the start button. Well, unbeknownst to the user, there are 5 things that go on just by clicking that one start button. Whenever you click stop, there's now you stop the recording, and then whenever it's uploaded, you show the next button. Like, it's all these complicated things. So this is just an example of literally what I'm building right now. Yeah, and I'd encourage anybody to give it a go and try something. Do something simple like a to-do list app before, but there are people recreating Uber on it, Airbnb, Fiverr, all these websites. It's amazing what people are doing.
Wow, that's incredible. John, Monty, Rhonda, you've joined us just in time to basically say goodbye. I do encourage you to watch this live once it's saved. Probably only takes a couple of minutes to do that. Daniel's been sharing with us some no-code tools on how to build amazing apps and other automation tools so that you can obviously build businesses or automate something in your existing business, automate tasks. He also shared with us a login to, or not a login, a group. Would you say a group called the 100 Days of No Code? What is
it's
it?
a community.
Like a
I'd say it's a community. Yeah, it's a community and a challenge. Yeah.
A community of people called 100 Days of No Code. It's a $50 investment to be part of that community. And then you get a heap of discounts worth thousands of dollars. So it's a fantastic investment. And as Daniel just said, there has never been a time in the entire history of the world where it's been cheaper or easier in a way to build a business and take tools. So do you have any last parting words or any other secrets that you can share with us, Daniel?
So, I mean, the community out there is great. So, for instance, I joined this MakerPad, and this guy, I think, did something like the 100 Days of No Code, really got in love with it, started documenting everything he did. And now he's raised a venture fund. He has 6 employees, and all he does is he makes it super simple for people like us to learn these tools. So, you can get unlimited access to it, team-based stuff, and they're getting ready to invest in companies through a fund that they raise of companies that start their businesses on no-code tools. Like it's amazing what's about to happen.
That's amazing. Absolutely. And the thing that's obvious to me is that this is the place where you should go to build an MVP. So if you have an idea in your mind and you want to test that idea and see if you can actually make a business of it, but you need an MVP, minimal viable product, then no code is the way to do that because it's affordable. Hey, Jilly, thank you for watching us. It is the way to go, don't you think?
Yeah. So the way that I think, and I'm like, all right, I want to create something for Uber, but for regional and remote communities. I would go to one of 2 websites, elements.envato.com, and I would type in sort of the app or a similar app that I would like. So I would come over here. There's 7,000 different graphic representations that are inspiration for what you may be able to build in Bubble. So what I do, I R&D, I rip off and I duplicate what other people do. I'm like, all right, I'm going to see what these people are doing. Oh, I like the way that they put that button there, and I just make the button in my own. I like the way that their call button, whatever it is. And the other website for inspiration is called Dribble, D-R-I-B, triple B-L-E. I'm trying to Australianize the way that I spell things out. I'm not very good at it. But yeah, you'll come over here and somebody, like if you want to do a delivery app, you just type in delivery app. And then there's all these examples of amazing designers that they're like, oh, if I were to redesign Uber or Uber Eats, I would do it like this. And you take a little bit of one person's, a little bit of another, and then you make it your own. So that's what I would do. If I really wanted to build something, step 1, I would document it out just like what we were doing, where we came over here. We didn't come back to it because we were just casually talking through it, and be like, add to calendar, add finished, save it, whatever. So document at high level what you want to do, and then just slowly pick them off one by one. Watch the tutorials, join a community, join the 100 Days of No Challenge, do something. The first time, it's like learning the piano, which I'm trying to do right now, and I'm not very good at it, but you got to do a little bit every single day. It's amazing.
Yeah.
So.
And the way technology is developing, it's really a good use of your time to just get in and try something really simple. Just get familiar and get comfortable with using technology and even building technology, even if you're not a developer.
Yeah, it's no better time than right now to try something out. If I were to wave a magic wand for this region, it would be 1, embrace the people that are here to help you. I would love to help as many people as I can. I've got a limited time frame, but you know what? I respond to emails and connections and stuff like that, assuming that the person is someone that is respectable and that they want to have a lively exchange of moving stuff forward. There's support out there everywhere on the internet. It's pretty amazing. All you have to do is ask. If you don't ask, you don't get. And just practice what you want to do. Think about something that maybe every time somebody fills out something on your website, you want to get a text message. Well, Google that. Just simply Google that and say, well, how do I send a text message from Typeform? And then, well, actually, we can do it. Send text message from Typeform, or whatever tools that you use. And look, Zapier, the very first one, they tell you exactly how to do it. Point, click, done,
Nice.
Tick it off your list, you're done. Move on to the next challenge.
Fabulous. Thank you so much, Mr. Daniel Johnson. It's been an absolute pleasure as always. Really appreciate your time. Feel free to watch this video again. We'll be saving it to our Facebook page as we do with all of our lives. So you can go through our library of lives. We are definitely building up a really great library of fantastic content that people can use to build businesses, start businesses, build businesses, and enjoy the journey, which I think is so important as for everyone in business, as we all are. Mr. Daniel Johnson, I shall see you again. And for everyone else, I will see you again, hopefully next Thursday at 1 o'clock.
So Elise, let's ask everybody, hey, if there is something you want to automate and just something, or you want to build something, put it in the comments and I'll look at that tomorrow. And I may spend a couple minutes on each request and be like, hey, this person did it with this tool.
Ooh,
hey, here's the support forum. If you put that in there by, say, noon tomorrow, I've got a friend coming into town tomorrow, so I can't do it tomorrow. But definitely everybody has till Sunday at 5 p.m. And then I'll come back and I'll say, hey, here's a tool, here's whatever's next. But the world is yours for the taking. It's yours to automate away and spend your time learning right now. You get a perfect excuse right now to learn and to push buttons and make amazing things happen.
Okay, what a great offer. So if you put into the comments what you want to automate by 5 p.m. on Sunday, Daniel Johnson himself will have a look at those comments and he will give you a little bit of a guide or guidance where to go, what tools to use, who else has been doing something that's similar, what community is right for you. So please feel free to take him up on that offer.
And here's the really cool thing about the no-code community. I'm currently having an issue with my service, not what we experienced, but something else. And then I put this out there. I messaged somebody. I was like, look, I'm stuck. I need help. And then someone on my behalf, if I can find it, last week, because that's whenever I was stuck, if I can find it. Where is it? It's somewhere here. Anyway, someone put out and said, hey, someone in our no-code community is stuck. What do we do? And then I just had answers for a whole bunch of people that were telling me, hey, do this, do that, do this other thing, which was actually pretty cool and pretty humbling to think about. So
that's incredible. So are you now unstuck? Are you getting unstuck?
I'm almost there. I'm not quite there yet. So,
okay, working towards moving forward again. That's excellent. Nisha, we're just in time to hear us say goodbye. Are you right? Is there anything else you want to say, Daniel?
So here's the example of the no-code community, July 29th. This is where somebody did to start getting responses. So if you don't ask, you don't get. Put it in the comments what you want help automating. I love this stuff. So if it's a really particular, really good challenge, I may hit you up and help you solve it. But if it's something like, hey, text message me whenever I get an email, that's not exciting. But if it's something really funny, like turn my lights on at 6 p.m. every night, I can help you out with that. So.
Oh, there's a challenge. If you have something that you want to automate and that's really interesting, Daniel will give you a hand. That is amazing. Okay, is there anything else that you'd like to say? Or are we good to wrap this up? Awesome. Thank you so much again for your time. Join me next week at 1 o'clock for our next Hub Live. See you then.